Welcome back to Content by Live, the show where we break down the latest trends in content, marketing, tech. Today's topics, what we're going to dive into, include the RTO, so the return to office policy for everyone but top performers. What does this look like for you and your company? Is it going to impact the marketing efforts that you're doing? Is it going to impact your team and your culture, whether it's virtual? Whether it's in person? So what does this look like? And then the other one is brand loyalty programs. Are they still effective? How can you apply the loyalty programs that you often see at like your favorite, maybe restaurant or retail, and figure out how that can apply to your marketing team, your own products and services? So let's start with the RTO policy, guys. Any ideas? What are your thoughts on this right now?
As a Gen Z, it's my personal worst nightmare. But I thought this was really interesting. That was one of the first things that President Trump put in place was a return to office for government workers. And I'm not sure the exact reasoning behind it, if it was more of a security thing or if it was more of a productivity thing. But I feel like I see these headlines a lot, sometimes on LinkedIn, and sometimes it's hard to tell how widespread that is, if it's just a couple companies that have big names that are having their companies return to office and we don't hear about the ones that transition into more hybrid models because it's not as big crazy news. But I am curious to see where this goes. My personal opinion is that I don't know if hybrid work is really going to go anywhere. I think if companies want to stay competitive, especially if they want high performers, like this article that Justine, I'm sure we'll talk about, mentioned. I feel like a major benefit these days is remote work. And so I think a lot of people would take a lower salary if they could work remotely and have that flexibility than a higher salary and be in an office 5 days a week. But that is my biased opinion. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I personally have worked like in person in the office. I've worked a hybrid schedule. I've worked fully remote. There are definitely benefits to like being in the office and having that face-to-face interaction, but also it doesn't necessarily like impact the ability to do your work just by sitting at a desk in an office in a cubicle or in a regular office. It really, I feel like on my end, it doesn't really impact like the ability to work as much. And I feel like with President Trump's mandate for all government workers to be in the office, in some ways, I feel like it's good because it is good to have that in person, face-to-face contact, especially with government workers, I'm sure. But for marketing specifically, I feel like a lot of the work that we do is done online and is done like on a video call. So I don't know how beneficial it would be for like marketers to return like fully in person in the office. I like the hybrid work schedule. Sometimes it's just fun to like see your coworkers in person, know how tall they are, get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all for the remote schedule. It's great.
Yeah, when I think of loyalty programs, my mind goes the same place down where I think about like birthday coupons, or I feel like it was not that long ago that we were using like physical punch cards that they would punch every time you go somewhere. But I feel like that's all been replaced by like the Square app, put in your number, which is kind of funny. But I was thinking about this more in like a retail space. I feel like another way you can kind of apply brand loyalty if you're working in more a retail space is with an email list. I think I've been victim so many times to like an email list that comes through that after purchase is made, they'll email you a 50% off coupon for your next purchase, which automatically, but it has a deadline on it. And you know, even though you just bought everything that you thought that you needed at that store, you feel incentivized to save money by going back there and purchasing again. But so I feel like the food space and like the retail space are the places where I see this done the most. But I'd be curious to hear from you guys, Justine and Alan, where you see it in like an e-commerce space or where you see space for it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, similar to like the email marketing, I also see it in like text messages, too. Like I know that like a couple of boutiques that I typically shop at, like they say like, oh, provide your phone number and then I'll give you like 10% off your first purchase. And of course, I'm like, yeah, of course. Like I want $10 off, like this $60 dress or whatever, of course. So you sign up for the text message and then you just kind of forget about it until like every 2 weeks when they text you. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should check out that sale. So I think there's definitely like perks to having like that text message, especially in the younger generations where they're like on their phone a lot more, and especially more than they are like checking their email. Like I know for me, like on my personal email, I probably have like 12,000 unread emails just because I don't like typically
It gives
look
me
at
a
them.
headache just thinking about,
I
oh,
know, I
that's
know.
like
A
one of
lot
my,
of them,
if I'm waking up in like sweats from like stress and nightmares, it's because I see like unread emails and my
yes.
super nerdy of me. But
Yeah.
that's great for you, that's great.
Yes. No, I really like Gmail's like little like categories. It's really nice like on the personal Gmail side
Oh
because
yeah.
it shows you like which are marketing emails and which are promotion emails. So it kind of helps me like look that way where I'm like, okay, is somebody actually emailing me or is it just Target telling me that I can get 5% off this item if I purchase 3 different shampoos? Like it's kind of nice in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dallin, I'm curious to see like what your thoughts are on like from the e-commerce side of this.
Yeah. Well, I think of like, let's think about it for ourselves, right? Like, so we offer a service where we provide content and marketing services, and we have a platform that allows us to treat our service like it's a product, like it's an e-commerce. And so what we're able to do is create coupon codes, in a way, loyalty programs, where whether it's repeat business or it's like a sales promotion, which like Black Friday, right? It's all about Amazon Prime or all of these like Black Friday deals, which are typically coming from um, a digital or e-commerce space where you can purchase these products, not typically a service but a product, where I think it's something to consider, whether it's other agencies out there like us, where what can you do to put out a sales promotion or build brand loyalty program that allows people to get a good deal, maybe on repeat business, bulk orders, but what's often called to a productized service, and which is what we've done. And it's a really cool way to quickly give easy access to a deal and a discount, which is really at the end of the day what these brand loyalty programs are trying to get is repeat business by way of thinking you're getting a great deal, which you can and are at times. But I also feel like they get you kind of locked into like getting on their communication channels. And I have got it maybe so you mentioned text messaging, which there's definitely a place for that to get direct to people. I have to say, as like a consumer myself, I hate text message spam or notifications unwarranted, like interrupted, like going direct to phone. Like that's, to me, if someone wants to sell me on something, don't send me a text message, because to me that's my like at least like to my personal phone, that's like a personal line of communication that should only come from friends and family, people I know. And so if I get a spam text, which it happens, I would say at least once a day, then it's like, to me, that place of business doesn't like, I'm not eager to give them my business. And that's just speaking from my own experience, receiving forms of marketing. Of course, you want to get direct to your audience. And of course, we even leverage SMS, text messaging to get to our audience. But it's going to be based on the person. Not everyone wants to receive communications that way. So yeah, I think it's something to explore. Like, I'm not saying obviously do it because we know it works, but also be careful because there's going to be some people who don't prefer that and who are going to be even turned off if it's done too much. or if it's done in a way that it feels too spam.
I think brand loyalty can also be built more organically. I think like as we've been having this conversation, I feel like my mind immediately went to food and beverage or retail or getting promotional emails and things. But it's interesting because when I think about like social media and the brands that I love to follow, I'm like opting into receiving their content because to me, I find it valuable or entertaining, and they might subtly be selling me on something, but I'm subscribed to their brand because I find that it's valuable. The first brand that I thought of was ClickUp, and their Instagram, ClickUp Comedy, is so funny. It's so good. And I know our content supply page follows that one, but I love that they have their company ClickUp, but they also have this like sort of, their sub brand ClickUp Comedy, which provides so much value and entertainment. And it's just so fun. And you like can't help but love that brand and feel warm, fuzzy feelings when you think about it. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to do that for like a project management platform. Like I don't feel that for Asana. Sorry, Asana, but so it is funny to think about, but yeah.
Well, and that's why I think loyalty transcends giving discounts and deals. It's giving people a deeper reason why to be loyal to you as a brand or company. And that's why I think more important than just like another credit card or getting on a text message campaign or another discount is to be so deeply like in love and connected to a brand that you're going to buy from them no matter what. Honestly, I think Apple has that from me. Although it's not like I have such an affinity with Steve Jobs or Tim Cook or the people there, but it's like the quality of the product that now that I'm so married to it and I'm in their ecosystem, the thought of like buying a non-Apple product for my tech stack is like, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't mean obviously I use like Amazon products or Google products for maybe certain things or softwares, but to me, that's something to consider is like, how can you create a loyalty program that doesn't necessarily require you to give out discounts as much as it does like people just want to buy no matter the cost of your product or service.
I think often that is such a longer process than a lot of businesses realize, because I think it's like super easy and catchy to throw out a promotion and get people hooked quickly, but as every consumer does, that can only last so long, and people unsubscribe or get annoyed by it. But it takes so much longer and so much more effort and so much more strategy to like build out a brand that people actually love following. And it's not something that can be done in a fast way. It has to be done over time.
Yeah. Well, and it comes down to your vision, mission, and values, but in a way that you're not throwing it up as like a poster in your office. I've been in that corporate world, and they invested tons of money in like branding and like messaging companies to help develop that out. And I feel like it should be a collective effort from everyone to help contribute to that or like stand behind it. And it's an evolving process too. But, I think Apple really started to stand out when they simplified it down to like the think different, campaign and just other forms of simple messaging that, and, just making a killer product allows you to stand out that way. So yeah, hey, as far as like those of you in the marketing space, being business and marketing leaders, like you definitely want brand loyalty, of course, right? That creates repeat business. It creates referrals, brand ambassadors, of course, just tremendous like leverage to grow your company and efforts. But consider how your brand loyalty program can look. Reverse engineer what Starbucks is doing. I think Starbucks is doing a lot of things right. Their product is solid, although I'm not a huge consumer of their product. And yeah, like I think it's really interesting on how they've used their app and tech to attract people. But the same thing with Apple. It's like more so than that, like how can you create a brand identity and affinity that people want to keep coming back? So let us know what you think on that in the comments down below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.